Hi everyone, and welcome back to Maths and Physics, doing grade 12 in Analytical Geometry. And on this fourth lesson, we're going to find the equation of circle by completing the square, right? Process you've learned in grade 11. Right, so determine the coordinates of the center and the radius of each circle by completing the square. So given to us is x squared plus 6x, and we have y squared minus 10y equal 5. So I have to create a perfect square for x squared and 6x. So I can factorize, same for y squared minus 10y. Now process relatively simple. What is half of 6? 3. Right? Because 3 plus 3 gives me 6. So therefore we write plus 3 squared. Then I have y squared minus 10y. What's half of negative 10y? Negative 5, because negative 5 and negative 5 would give me negative 10 squared. Right? I 2 on one side, I must 2 on the other side, so therefore plus the 3 squared plus the negative 5 squared. So now we have a perfect square for those three, meaning the end term in the first term will give me the middle term, just by saying 3x plus 3x would give me 6x. So square root of x squared is x, square root of 3 squared becomes 3, so therefore it's x plus 3 all squared. I hope you with me there. We take y squared minus 10y plus negative 5 squared. Square root of y squared is y. Square root of negative 5 becomes negative 5 squared. So they have created two perfect squares. On this side here I have 5. 3 squared gives me 9. Negative 5 times negative 5 gives me positive 25. Right, so I have 5 plus 25 gives me 30, plus 9 gives me 39. So my full equation now reads x plus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared equal 39. So my center, remember, the signs change. So plus 3 becomes negative 3, minus 5 becomes plus 5, and the radius, remember that is r squared, so the radius becomes square root 39. All right, let's do another problem. So for P, we have to get the coordinates of the center and the radius. They're given x squared plus y squared plus 6x minus 5y minus 3 over 4. So I have to group my x's together and my y's together. So x squared plus 6x, y squared minus 5y. Right, so again half of 6x is 3. So therefore 3 squared. Y squared minus 5y. Get half of negative 5 over 2 all squared. Minus 3 over 4, I took over to make it positive 3 over 4, so I get rid of the constant by moving it to the right. What I do on the left hand side, I must do on the right hand side. So positive 3 squared, positive 3 squared. Plus minus 5 over 2 squared, plus minus 5 over 2 squared. So they have a perfect square because 3 plus 3 gives me 6. Square root of x squared is x. 3 squared becomes 3, so that becomes x plus 3 squared for those three terms. Right, for these three, square root of y squared would become y. Square root of negative 5 over 2 squared simply becomes negative 5 over 2 all squared. I have 3 over 4, 3 times 3 gives me 9. Negative 5 times negative 5 would give me positive 25, and 2 times 2 would give me 4. That would give me 25 plus 3 is 28 over 4, and 28 over 4 gives me 7. 7 plus 9 would then give me 16. None of this on the left has changed, so that stays x plus 3 squared plus y minus 5 over 2 squared equals 16. So my center, remember to change the signs. Plus 3 becomes negative 3. Negative 5 over 2 becomes plus 5 over 2. So there's the coordinates for the center of the circle. My radius, always square root of r squared. So square root 16 would then give me 4. Remember, r always stays positive. Therefore, we don't find a plus or minus for r. Alright, let's look at the third problem. So, determine the coordinates of the center and the radius of each circle by completing the square. Again, they've mixed. I have 2x squared, 2y squared, minus 4x, minus 12y, minus 30. Alright, so yeah, I can divide everything by 2 first. So normally when we complete the square, we don't want a coefficient except 1 in front of x squared and y squared. So x squared divided by 2 gives me x squared. Minus 4x divided by 2 gives me negative 2x. 2y squared divided by 2 gives me y squared. Minus 12y divided by 2 gives me minus 6y. And if I take negative 30 over, it becomes positive 30 divided by 2 gives me 15. Right, so now I've grouped my x's together and my y's together. So half of negative 2 is negative 1, because negative 1 plus negative 1 gives me negative 2. So that becomes negative 1 squared. Then I have y squared minus 6y. Half of negative 6 is negative 3, because negative 3 and negative 3 must give me negative 6. So therefore minus 3 squared. The 2 on the left hand side, I must 2 on the right hand side, so it becomes 15 plus negative 1 squared plus negative 3 squared, right? So from there, perfect square, square root of x squared x, square root of negative 1 squared, negative 1. So those 3 becomes x minus 1 squared, plus those 3 become y minus 3 squared. If you just want to test again, squaring binomial, x times x gives me x squared. Minus 1 times minus 1 gives me minus 1 squared. And for the middle term, x times negative 1 gives me negative x, times 2 gives me negative 2x. Right, this side I have 15. Plus 1 gives me 16, plus 9 would give me 25. So my center is simply positive 1, positive 3, and the radius. Square root 25 then becomes positive 5, right? So they have found the center and the radius. Let's look at the last problem. So again, they give me 2x squared plus 2y squared plus 6x minus 5 equals 0. So I'm first going to take the 5 over, negative 5 become positive 5 on the other side. Again, my x squared and my y squared must have the value 1. So I'm going to divide everything by 2. So 2x squared divided by 2 gives me x squared. 6x divided by 2 gives me 3x. 2y divided by 2 gives me y squared, and then 5 divided by 2. So x squared plus 3x, half of 3x is 3 divided by 2 squared plus y squared equal 5 over 2. What I 2 on the left hand side, I must 2 on the right hand side, plus 3 over 2 squared. See, y squared has nothing else attached to it, so that coordinate would stay 0. Complete the square here now for those 3 there. Become square root of x squared becomes x. Square root of 3 over 2 squared would become simply 3 over 2 squared. Plus y squared, that there. 3 times 3 gives me 9. 2 times 2 gives me 4. To add them without a calculator, to make this over 4, 2 times 2 is 4. Therefore 5 times 2 is 10 over 4. 10 plus 9 would then give me 19 over 4. So my center now, plus 3 over 2 becomes negative 3 over 2. There, because it just says y squared, would then become 0. And my radius would be square root of 19 over 4. Can't find the square root of 19, but square root of 4 becomes 2. Right, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please like and subscribe. And I know this is the type of problem that will get you to work harder. God gave you the ability to succeed, so continue practicing and becoming a better version of yourself. Wish you nothing but the best. God bless. Bye.